Hey guys, so today I have swatches of some new polishes from, labels are backwards, new polishes from Rogue Lacquer. I have the Wilds of Arizona Part 2 collection and then the Not Your Average Holiday Duo. So 5 polishes all together. Rogue Lacquer's Black Friday sale is being extended like through the weekend into Cyber Monday. So the information that I have is 10 to 20% off site-wide through Monday with no code needed. A doorbuster polish, which is actually really cool. It's like this looks like holographic gold with little red and green flecks in it. And then free domestic shipping over $50 and $10 off international shipping over $50. And those require coupon codes, and I will list those in the description box, as well as a link to the Rogue Lacquer website. So 6 polishes altogether, I can't count. And I will get into the swatches. So starting out with the Not Your Average Holiday Duo, the first polish is Unicorn Blood. This is a almost like pearly base, but it's pearly without being frosty, if that makes any sense at all. It has a nice scattered holographic in it, and then this really nice red to gold to green shifting shimmer as well. So this one is pretty sheer on that first coat. I did 3, and even after the third I could, if I looked very, very closely, I could see a little bit of nail line, but the shifty shimmer and the holographic that's in there did help quite a bit with that, kind of hiding it a little bit. Good formula on this, and I definitely think it is sheer enough on that first coat that you could use it as a topper over other colors if you wanted to as well. So this one does start to build up a bit on that second coat. I did 3, like I said, so I'm going to do 3 here as well, 3 for my swatch pictures. You can see that shimmer. I'm not sure how well the camera is picking it up, but it is pretty strong. There we go, from my angle. And this does dry a little bit dull, but it dries smooth. The scattered holographic that's in there is not glitter at all, so it's not going to be gritty or difficult to remove. So this one does cover pretty well on that third coat. You can still see my nail line. You probably see it on camera, but I can see it from certain angles. And then in other angles, the shimmer is too strong to pick it out. I actually, from this angle and on camera, the shimmer is very reddish orange. But if I pull it out of the light, out of like the direct filming light, then it shows up very, very green. So that shimmer does have a nice shift to it as well. I really like this polish. So that is 3 coats of Unicorn Blood. The next polish is called Ugly But Interesting, and this is an olive green with the scattered holographic and that same shifty shimmer. It does show up, I feel like, much more red in this polish against the green base. The more extreme angles that show the green shift kind of just blend into this base a bit. So this one is pretty opaque on the first coat. I can still see my nail line. The green portion of the shifty shimmer that's in here is a little bit brighter of a green than the actual base color, but it does blend in pretty well. So for the most part, you're going to get red shimmer out of this one. You can pick out the green, but it's not nearly as obvious as it was in the last polish. So this one does start to build up on that second coat. I'm going to pull it away here really quick and just double check that it's opaque. Yes, this is fully opaque on the second coat. I couldn't remember if I did 2 or 3 for this one. That second coat does deepen the color quite a bit. I didn't mention on the first coat, but good formula on this one as well. And I feel like once it's a bit deeper, that red shimmer stands out a lot more. And the same as Unicorn Blood, that holographic that's in there is not glitter, so it's not going to be gritty at all, but the polish itself does dry a little bit dull, so you will want top coat for that. So that is 2 coats of Ugly But Interesting. The next polishes are all from the Wilds of Arizona Part 2 collection. So there are 4 previous polishes that kind of go along with this theme, which is multi-chrome flakies in shimmery holographic bases. So the first polish is called Snowball, and this is this very like icy gray-blue holographic base, scattered holographic base with multi-chrome flakies. So this one is a bit sheer on that first coat. The rest of the polishes are a little bit more opaque than this on one coat just because they are darker colors. Good formula on this one, and you get a lot of those flakes out, which helps with the coverage quite a bit. So this one does start to build up on that second coat. I can still see my nail line, at least from the angle that I'm at now. It's pretty minor, but I am going to add a third coat just because a third coat isn't a huge deal to me if it covers everything completely. Most days anyway. Some days I just can't do it. These flakies are going to dry completely flat and smooth, so you won't have to worry about top coat for that. But the polish does dry a little bit dull. So this one does cover completely in 3 coats. It was really, really close into, I do think I'm being a little picky with the 3rd coat here. I also just noticed how dry the skin is around my nails. I apologize. I put some cuticle cream on before I started filming this video and then it would not soak in. And I ended up having to wash my hands to get it off, and then my skin was drier than it was before I started, so that didn't work well. So that is 3 coats of Snowball. The next polish is called Antelope Canyon, and this is a kind of raspberry base with that scattered holographic and multi-chrome flakies. So this one is in a jelly base. It is a bit sheer on the first coat. It kind of has to be if you want those flakies to stand out and not get buried under a more opaque base. I do think this one will cover fine in 2 though, because it is a darker color. If I'm remembering correctly, I believe I did 3 of this and of the next one for my swatch pictures because I didn't want them to look more sheer in photos than they did in person, and I wasn't quite sure if they were covered perfectly, but I don't really think I needed the 3rd, so we'll see what happens here. I think I'm only going to need 2. So this one does start to build up on that 2nd coat. I can't see my nail line too well, but I can see some spaces where the color isn't perfectly even, and that might have a bit to do with my coats as well, but I'm going to add a 3rd just to even all of that out. And I'm not sure if I mentioned in this one, but the formula is good on this one as well. With flaky polishes like this, I'm actually glad this happened. Sometimes you get some that just don't want to cooperate and don't want to sit even on the nail. You can see that sticking out a bit. You can either just take that right off if it's not going to sit flat, or you can take another finger and kind of, and then mess up your one nail trying to fix your other one. Awesome. Anyway, you can push it back to sit flush with the end of your nail, or you can take the brush and just take it right off because sometimes the flakies don't want to cooperate. Okay, so I'm adding this 3rd coat just to even out the color a bit, though it does, maybe that's just that nail. It does seem to make it a little bit darker, but I think this nail was a bit lighter to begin with. I did have a couple of flakies. There's one that came out on this nail, actually, when I was fixing my smudge. I don't know if you can tell, that's sticking out quite a bit. It's a pretty big, almost like folded over itself flaky, and then the one that was on the end of this nail that I messed this nail up trying to fix, I ended up taking that one off as well because I couldn't get it to smooth out, which I don't think has ever happened to me with multi-chrome flakies before. It's not super common. Sometimes they can just like stick to each other when you get them in the polish though. So that is 3 coats of Antelope Canyon. The next polish is called Cactus Country, and this is a green with some scattered holographic, almost looks like some gold shimmer, and then those multi-chrome flakies. So again, this one is a bit sheer on the first coat. It is in a jelly base. You do get a good amount of flakies here, and good formula on this one as well. So the color does build up on this pretty well on the 2nd coat. I'm going to pull it away from the camera here when I'm done and just double check that it's opaque. Yeah, I think this one is covering fine for me in 2 coats. I do think it's right on the edge of needing a 3rd though, so if you have a much wider nail line, longer nails, thinner coats, any combination of those things, you might end up needing 3. And again, those are multi-chrome flakies, so they will dry flat. For the most part, like in the last polish, I did get a couple little clumps of them, but that's pretty unusual. They will not have to be scrubbed off of the nail like a glitter though. So that is 2 coats of Cactus Country. And the last polish is called Campfire Tales, and this is it's like a black jelly base. When you add that scattered holographic to it, it makes it almost like a little bit more of a charcoal shade than like a black, with also those multi-chrome flakies. So this one is also a jelly base, so it is a bit sheer on that first coat. Again, you do get a good amount of flakies as well, and I guess once it's out and on the stem of the brush and everything, it does look way more gray than black. And good formula on this one as well. So this one is starting to build up on that 2nd coat. Again, I'm going to push these flakies back, and then I'm going to take a closer look at it. Okay, so this one is just like the last one. I'm going to do 2 coats here, but it is very, very close to needing a 3rd. For my nails, it's not quite there. But like I said, with the green, if you have longer nails, wider nail line, thinner coats, all of that stuff, you might end up needing a 3rd coat. So that is 2 coats of Campfire Tales. So I don't know if I'm allowed to like 3 out of 6 for my favorites. My absolute, like, for sure favorite is Unicorn Blood. This is an awesome, awesome polish. I really, really like this. I think this is actually gonna go right on my nails when I'm done here. And then I also like Ugly But Interesting, just because anything that's olive green I'm gonna like, especially this time of year. plus that Shifty Shimmer that's in there, and then Snowball because it's blue. It took me so long to get on the multi-chrome flakies train, but I'm there. So I like this shade of blue, and I like the addition of the multi-chrome flakies and the holographic. So out of the Wilds of Arizona, for sure, this one stuck out to me. So that is the Wilds of Arizona Part 2, as well as the Holiday Duo from Rogue Lacquer. Again, I will link that website down below. I'll have all the information on the Black Friday to Cyber Monday weekend sale as well. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later. Bye.